All right, aloha. I'm still over in Hawaii right now. I've got my buddy Travis Ishida from the NRL Hunter series on today. How you doing, Travis?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm a little bit jealous that you're in Hawaii still, and I'm in California, but Hawaii. Oh, I wish I was there with you, brother.
Yeah, dude, we actually live. Me and Travis actually live about an hour apart from each other, so that's kind of like one of the things that really hit us off with us is like, oh, dude, I didn't realize like you're in Riverside, I'm in San Diego. Like, we can literally meet in the middle in 30 minutes to go to lunch and stuff. But yeah, dude, I'm still over here. Killed a couple goats last week. I've gotten out a few times with my bow. I got out yesterday and I got really high up on like the volcanoes, like way up there, dude. So it was actually a little bit cold. It was up like 6,000 feet elevation, and it's just like it's not an island up there. It's like big country, right? And there's just
Right.
sheep everywhere, bro. Like, I got some video. There's probably 50 sheep in this one herd, but dude, I found these two big mouflon rams, and dude, they're so spooky. I could not. I don't know how they busted me, and I got to like probably 80 yards before they busted me, but they're just switched on, different level. The goats are retarded, dude. You can freaking stab them with a spear, but they're still fun to kill. But I end up shooting a U at 84 yards yesterday, which is kind of cool. It's definitely a poke for me, but
Yeah.
when it comes to like honing your bow skills and like getting reps, dude, this is a redneck paradise, bro.
That's awesome. I've never hunted mouflon before. I hunted axis in Hawaii, which was fantastic.
Mm.
Um, and I've done a little bit of bow hunting, and bow hunting is definitely something I want to spend more time doing because it is so much fun. It's a completely different game to me than rifle hunting.
Yeah, man. So I'm on this weird. Now this is totally opposite of like what your shtick is with NRL, right? 'Cause I have both sides of this thing. Like, I have the long range rifles. I'm learning how to do that as well. But like, I've been on the last couple of years kind of this journey as I've been killing more stuff. Like, last year I went to, and everyone's tired of hearing me say this, I went to a Woodstock 30-06 for everything, right?
Right.
This year I'll probably still be using that rifle. It depends on what hunts I'm going on. But I'm also using like open sight 30-30. So when I go to Alaska Sitka Blacktail this year, I bought an open sight stainless steel Marlin 30-30, and
Nice.
I'm bringing my bow. We're going to Sitka Blacktail for a week. Me and Shed Crazy, and that's what I'm bringing. And I'll find a way to get it done because I feel like at this point, like, I could find a way to get within 50 yards of a Sitka Blacktail in a week, right? Like, I can get it
Right.
done. Now I might not shoot a big 4 by or 3 by right up there. Like, if it's bigger than a fork, you're supposed to shoot it. I mean, they're not giant deer, from what I understand. If it's a 4 by, you kill it every second of the day. But like, it's really more challenging. So I really enjoy the archery side of it. So like, being over here with my bow for this month, it's really been a way for me to kind of like come back to myself, right, a little bit. And like, I've been traveling so much. Like, my schedule. Like, I'm like, you
Yeah.
talk to me, I'm
Insane.
like, I'm in Texas. You're the same way, dude. Like, it's like I'm all over the world all the time. And like, being over here, I've actually been able to develop, like, I can't talk about what it is, but I finally locked down the final designs of a product we're doing this fall. And like, it's just been really good for me to do that and get that field experience and just use my bow. Right? There's something to be said
Nice.
about me running just my 80 tripod, the LP panhead, and a bow versus like, having to get out there with my BTX and a JC and a DZ and get content and do all this stuff and be going, going, going. And like, the archery thing is just so cathartic, man. Like, you go out in your yard, you're having a bad day, you go out in your yard and you shoot 20 arrows. Like, it's relaxing.
It is. I mean, there's boning is definitely more primal, at least in my respect.
Mm.
Um, Going out there and able to sling some arrows and kind of tune yourself a little bit and just like not focus on anything. It's it's a whole nother level. It's a ton of fun. I've only been blessed to take two animals with the bow, and I'm hoping to up those numbers here in the future. But it's definitely a skill set I need to get better at for sure.
Well, if you go to Hawaii, you can shoot like 3 goats a day on most of these places. You can shoot sheep, you can shoot pigs, and pretty much everything is open. Like, some of the preserves I've been hunting are only open, like, they were only Saturday, Sunday. Now it's Friday through Monday. But
Okay.
you could freaking just go in there and hunt, dude. Buy tags, many tags you want, and go hunt sheep, do this stuff, and go hunt. There's turkeys over here right now. I did a video. I still hunted a turkey, and I got to like 3 yards of a turkey in her hen her poults. I didn't get to find any toms, but like, it's dude. And like, even if you want to do like some wing shooting with your shotguns, like, dude, they've got Asian pheasants, Indian pheasants, regular ringneck pheasants. They've got chucker, partridge. I mean, it's like quail. I mean, there's and dude, when you're out there, they are everywhere. Like, you're
Yep.
hunting and they're everywhere, dude. Like, So it's definitely like the Big Island is the like the land of opportunity for hunters. I think for rednecks. Like if you want to go over, like take your family to the beach, and I've been doing it really well. Like, hey, you know what? Like Fridays I'm gonna go hunting, or Mondays I'm gonna go hunting, and the rest of the week I'm doing stuff with you guys, right? Or in meeting. Like
Right.
Tuesday is my day. Or it's Tuesday right now. I'm in meetings from. It sucks, dude. I'm like 3 hours behind everyone at least, 6 hours behind the East Coast. So I'm in meetings from like 5 a.m. till like 4 p.m. today. But it's a really good place to balance out like going hunting and doing family stuff, right? And it's just such an easy way to do it. Like you can go knock out a goat hunt like in the morning. I can take you out. We can go kill 2 goats each in 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like it's yes, they're not. It's not like super. It's not unsporting. I mean, you have to stalk them. They run away. You know what I mean? But it's like you're going to get enough reps where you're going to get them killed, right? As long as you can shoot and your bow's not off, you're going to get it killed, and you're going to get those kills, which are so important for bow hunting and for stalking and for drawing back. And like yesterday, I was down behind a bush, and drew on my knees, and I stood up, and I shot this sheep. You know what I mean? Like it's just that stuff that you can only get what once every couple years on a mule deer, right? And unless you have a over the counter tag, but like you don't want your first real big bow hunt to be a tag you waited 10 years to get and you haven't killed anything.
Right. No, definitely. I think that the more opportunities that you set up for yourself, whether it's big game or turkey or whatever it is, the more repetition that you get, the more practice you get with any discipline, the better off you're going to be for that trophy hunt or for that bucket list hunt. And, that's kind of what the NRL Hunter is all about, right? And I don't mean to
Mhm.
be segueing into that, but it's
That's where
it's
we're
all
that's
about
where we're going.
repetition,
That's where we're going.
right?
So
Yeah.
that's where we're going with this. So I, I I'm obviously I'm making new tripods. I'm trying to do some stuff in the shooting space with the bipods, the new hexagon leg tripods, all this stuff. And I, as a man, want to understand these sports rather than to sponsor these sports, right? I
Right.
don't want to I don't agree with like lab engineering, right? That's why I'm out here hunting right now. Like where my engineering is done is in the field, and like I wanted to go all in on PRS and NRL. PRS is sort of your competitor, but like you guys are, in my opinion, totally different brands. I know you came
Yeah.
from that space. You came from that space, and the cool thing with NRL and you is you're a hunter. You're not just a shooter, right? You're not a bench rest guy. You have created basically the tack of shooting sports to become better at hunting. It is one of the most humbling things I've ever done because like I am terrible. Like I know that I've been getting some slack on the internet lately from people, but like people talking about like my scores and stuff. Like, dude, I'm not trying to pretend my scores are good. Like my
Yeah.
scores are
Scores don't mean
terrible,
shit.
bro. They don't. Like it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I hit dirt, you know what I mean? But I didn't hit targets. But dude, it's like such a good way to become a better hunter because you're not just like going and shooting off a bench or going to the range and shooting off, prone. You're enabling hunters, Travis, to go out and shoot from awkward positions, acquire targets, the whole nine. So, dude, and I can tell you when you go out to an NRL hunter match, like every dude there is rocking First Light, Sitka, Kuyu. They're wearing bino harnesses. Like when you go to a PRS match, they're not wearing bino harnesses. They care that you know what I mean. Like,
No. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
these are like hunters doing it, and you've enabled that. And dude, like, let's talk about the beginnings of that. Like, let's talk about where you came from. You came from the PRS space, correct?
Yeah. So back in the day, um, it's kind of funny. So back in the day, I come from a marketing, photography, design background,
Okay.
and that's what I was doing for a long time. I met my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and I started getting heavily into firearms. And she was like, stop spending so much money. And so my whole thing was, well, if I can't spend money on this stuff, I'm going to turn it into a business because now I have a reason to spend money on this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And at that same time, I was going through that discussion with my then girlfriend, my wife now, one of my best friends who owns a really big agency in the action sports world, marketing world. He was like, Travis, you're really into this firearm stuff. You've been doing this forever. The firearms marketing side is weak in comparison to a lot of the other parts of marketing industry. He's like, why don't you go and support that industry? Why don't you go and take what you know from, the years that you've been doing all this other, what I call corporate marketing and take it
Mm-hmm.
to the 2A industry. And I was like, dude, that's like something I've been talking about, and it's the right time because I was kind of getting tired of all of the politics in the industries that I was working in at that time, which was a lot of the entertainment stuff. So I started a company called Contingency X. Through that, it was a full scale marketing and media service company for the 2A industry. And one of the first companies I got on board with was a company called US Optics. And I got on board with them
Mhm.
because I met them at a law enforcement trade show that a buddy got me into. And we started talking, and they're from Yorba Linda, California at that time. And I grew up in Yorba Linda, California. And so I'm like, oh, you're here, and I did this, so we had that connection, right? They invited me down. I did some pro bono type work for them to show them what I was capable of doing. They loved it. They brought me on, and they were big into the long range space.
Mhm.
So they're like, hey, this is the space that we want to focus on. And up until that point, all of my firearms type stuff, like most young men, was more tactical than anything.
Mhm. Yeah, this is
Um,
you're. This is like you're. This is like the AR craze, right? When all of us are building
yeah,
ARs. That's
we're
what this
all
is. This is when we're all just building ARs like crazy.
doing,
80
yeah,
percenters going nuts.
the whole nine. Yeah,
Yep.
right. You're sitting in your garage with your drill press, and you're like, oh shit, that's too deep.
Yeah, dude. Like this is like what is it? This is like 010, probably 08 to like 012, like that
This
era
was,
where we just went
yeah,
nuts. All of us.
this
We were
was
all building guns.
back then. And
Okay.
so I got into in order for me to do the right job for US Optics, I had to get into the long range space. And that's how I found out about the PRS.
Hmm.
So I started working with the PRS. We started doing our media services for them. We created all the video work that was done from like 14 through like 17. We were the only media company going out there doing photography, doing videos, doing all of that. And a lot of people attribute Contingency X, my company at that time, to the growth of that sport. Um, I think we definitely had something to do with it. It wasn't all us. The sport was getting big, right? The PRS sold. When the PRS sold, the new owners didn't honor any of our agreements that we had with the original owner because I didn't have a paper contract, right? My
Hmm.
agreements, the original owner is a good old guy from Texas. It was a handshake. We'd known each other for a couple of years, and I really,
Yep.
my intention was to help him out. Had I had known he was selling the PRS, I would have made an offer, right? But I had
Yeah.
no idea. Um, so the new owners at that time were like, we're not interested. We're not going to deal with this. We're going to do our own thing. So I said, okay, well, I've got so much time and money and hundreds of thousands of dollars at that point in years worth of work building up this brand. I couldn't walk away from it. So I talked to a friend of mine out of Las Vegas and I said, hey, this is what I want to do.
Is this like
Can we do it?
2017, 18? What's the time frame on this? 2018?
27, 16,
Okay, 2016. Okay. Okay.
2016. Yeah. Yeah, right around 2016. So,
Which is crazy to
um,
think that like you've been doing this for that long, right? Like that's a
yeah,
long. I don't think people realize like, dude, this guy's been like you think, oh, NRL Hunter, this guy blew up. It's like you didn't blow up. Like people tell me, Tricer blew up. Like no, it didn't. We've been doing this forever. It
yeah,
just took time. So like this is like 2016. You're like, I got to create something on my own. And like now, yes, today, like you're selling out every freaking match. But like that's dude, that's 10 years ago, bro.
yeah. I mean,
Nowhere near.
it was 10 years of hard work, right?
Okay.
Is it was never easy. I mean, literally when we started it, we would drive. I have a 2006 E350 Ford Econoline van that's all 4x4'd out and camper style and all that. And we would drive across the country to all these matches to show our support and to do
Hmm.
video work and to do everything we could to help it blow up, right?
Grinding, dude. So I love to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, my girlfriend at the time, Brittany, everybody knows Brittany because she was always on the road with me, and I had different camera crews that were on the road with me. I had my best friend, one of my best friends, Nico. He was my road dog. He was in charge of making sure that the van was always operational. He was good mechanically, and then he would shoot the matches. So we had this whole like tribe that would travel across the country with us when we first started, and it
And when's the
was,
first match? Like that long? 2016?
oh yeah, 2016.
No way.
Yeah, for NRL, not NRL Hunter.
For NRL. Okay.
Yeah. So for NRL, when we first started, it was a very similar format to the PRS with some tweaks that we thought made it more accessible to people. Right. So we were basically like this the same vehicle, just a different model. Okay, so
Okay.
Ford and Chevy or whatever, right?
Yeah. You're going at this point.
Um,
You're like, I want to go head to head with these guys.
yeah.
They kind of burnt me. I want to go head to head. Watch what I can do this.
Well,
And
it was
because he evolved into because now it's similar but totally different.
completely different. Yeah,
Completely
now it's
different. Now it's
completely
like it's
different.
not like at first you're just like, all right, well, I have all this time invested. I could do this a little bit better. Let's do this. Right. So that's how everything starts, right? Everything starts
Yeah,
that way.
it was just it was like they were doing it one way. The community wanted something a little bit different, so I offered a different flavor of what they were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it took off. I mean, we went from I think the first year it was 6 matches to when we finally stopped, we had 30 plus matches. So it definitely grew. We had a strong following. We had a lot of loyal support, and it was just it was a whirlwind of stuff. And when we talk about hardships, I mean, this was all self-funded. I this was never, I don't have a loan from a bank. I don't have dad money. I don't have any of that type of stuff. This
Yeah,
is all
buddy.
self-funded, uh, sweat equity. up at 3 a.m. Until 3 a.m. in the morning, up at 6 a.m. doing it all over again. I mean, this is just the grind, right? And it was never easy. Whenever you have competition, your competition's always going to do what they can to stay on top, and that was no different here. But we persevered through all of that, right?
Oh, dude,
And,
it's nice to finally be being punched up at, right? Like when you're
yeah,
coming up and there's like a big dog. I'm not going to speak for what happened to you or not, but like when you're getting punched down on, for one, you remember those blows. You remember those blows, dude, and like if you're anything like me, they just motivate me, right? Like
yeah,
when people are
that's all
pushing
it was.
down, right? There's motivations.
Yeah,
You're getting punched down on. They're trying to squash you. I'm sure you're starting to take some equity or take some some shares
yeah,
and
some market share out of
market
it. And
share. Yeah, and it's like yeah, dude, keep going.
yeah, I mean, every time somebody told me I couldn't do something or that they were going to prevent me from doing something or they would literally destroy me, it was just like, okay, bring it. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I have always taken the high road. I've literally had advisors from our industry and outside the industry tell me I should be doing things differently, you know, but I always took the high road.
Hmm.
Um, and that high road, eventually, the community started seeing, hey, all this shit keeps getting tossed on to the NRL or onto Travis,
Yep.
but they always take the high road. And I think that earned a lot of respect from a lot of different people
Hmm.
because we didn't play in the dirt,
Hmm.
right? And it took a while, but we're here and we're better for it, right? So
Because there
now
was
if you
at that point, are there camps? Is it like I'm an NRL guy, I'm a PRS? Because now it's very
there,
a lot of crossover now. But like at the time, I'm sure it was like you got to pick your team, like East Coast, West Coast, Biggie, and Tupac. You
so
know?
it was like that in a lot of ways, but all of that came from the other side, not from us.
Oh, okay.
So I was always and have always been about growing the sport and getting more people to shoot. That's my
Hmm.
mission. I
Hmm.
don't care if you're shooting high power, if you're shooting bench, NRL, PRS, competition dynamics. I don't care what you're shooting, just shoot. So our policy at that time was let our match directors, host matches for other series if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
We're not going to
Yeah.
prevent them from doing that. We just didn't allow them to use our brand equity for those other companies. So if we had the Tricer tactical match, you couldn't use that name for a PRS match or a competition dynamics match. You'd have to create your own brand for that match. And that was the only stipulation. The other side was like, if you do a match for the NRL, you can't do a match for us, which is not a policy I believe in.
No, not at all.
And so that created a lot of division for a good 5 years. A good 5 years. Um, I lost people that I thought were my friends. I had people that started with me that ended up stabbing me in the back. And to me, my outlook is very simple. Good riddance.
Yeah,
If
dude.
if that's how it is, then and that's who you are, then that's cool. I don't need that person or that company or that whatever in my life. And I'm just going to keep moving forward.
Well, dude, and I say this all the time, right? Like I've been getting some flack for some of my tripods lately, right? And it's like, dude, like innovation is what like drives it's only good for the end consumer, for the shooter, right? Like
Absolutely.
if you would have like we would still just be freaking shooting PRS, bro, if you didn't start NRL. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, well, for sure.
and like you've seen changes within the PRS space as well. It's more accessible than to other guys. Like you don't have to go
Yep.
shoot like a giant rig. I go out there and I'll shoot it, and I got guys shooting Ruger American next to me. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you could get in there and do it, and like you by coming in and competing, it didn't. You did not. How do I put this? You did not take market share from PRS. You grew both market spaces. PRS is
And that,
bigger than ever, bro, and NRL is bigger than ever now, and it's
yeah.
because you were not necessarily competing, but you were innovating and growing, and that's what the market needs, dude. That's what we need, dude. And like you guys are the reason why. Like, no, I'm not saying you are, but sure you are. Yeah, like you're the reason why freaking Weatherby's making high end rifles now, dude, and
Yeah.
Browning's making high end rifles now, dude. Like you can go. You used to have to go spend 10 grand to build a custom rifle, and now you can go buy a custom rifle. You can go get a Seekins right now with a chassis on it for 3 grand, and it's going to be damn near as accurate. It's going to be more accurate than most 95% of us. And you can go shoot these
Oh,
matches
absolutely.
right now, dude. And that's because NRL came in and did
100%.
it, dude. Dude, put it this way: Seekins is making an NRL or Comp Pacific guns now, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
you, bro. Like you've created a whole, and like that's so good for the sport and so good for the end user, for the shooter. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is if we work together as a community, we all grow, we all
Mm-hmm.
prosper. There's a space for everybody, and everybody has a slightly different taste in what they like and what they want to use, which means that there's room for everybody to be able to be prosperous if we work together.
Mm-hmm.
If we have the same common goal of, hey, we want everybody to learn how to be more efficient off of a tripod, or how to properly use a bipod, or how to use a rear bag, and we start teaching these methods, then it's going to be fantastic. 10 years ago, yeah, roughly 10 years ago, when we first started shooting off of tripods, everybody was like, hell no, we're not going to do that. That does not work. And it took a long time for people to see the value and the benefit of shooting off of a system like a tripod,
What about a rear
because
tripod support? That was something that people talked about 10 years ago, bro. I didn't even heard
that
about
doesn't
that
even
until
exist.
rear tripod support. And you're just like, dude, like once
That did
you
not
learn how
exist
to
10 years
like
ago.
with my new bipod in a hunting situation, with my new bipod, I can sit down and then use my tripod as a rear support and have a freaking rock solid 300-yard rest. Like, and
Yeah,
that's something that came out of these sports that has been like so good for the hunting
absolutely.
space and transcended into the hunting space. And that's where I love innovation, dude. I love what you're doing. I love hearing the story, dude. This is good. This is
No,
good.
yeah, I mean, it's literally like rear tripod support is a few years old. It's not that old. I mean, probably
Yeah.
3 or 4 years old, right? When it
Yeah.
actually started taking off. Before that, we were using,
Backpedals.
Manfrottos,
Yeah.
and spray painting them so they were all camouflage, all to use those to glass off of, and then people started figuring out how to shoot off of them, and now you cannot go to a NRL Hunter match and not see somebody with a tripod. Some guys carry two tripods.
Yeah.
I mean, it is now, in my opinion, an essential piece of gear for you to have a complete system. So whether that's a competition, or that's hunting, or even if that's just going out to glass and scout, you know, I always have a tripod on me. I have a tripod that just lives in my truck, so I never forget it. Right.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
And then it's driving innovation from companies like Tricer, right? Like we have this new
yeah.
tripods coming out with like all this stuff on there that are you wouldn't even have thought of 10 years ago, but it's all just coming from like hearing what you guys are doing and like, hey, we need to lock these legs out, and hey, we need to have weights in the legs to make it more stable, right? And we have to like,
Right.
and like honestly, where I'm getting a lot of that from is me just going out and shooting these matches as well and shooting PRS and doing stuff because I'm learning like there's so much more. Like right now, you think we're at the pinnacle, and we're not. Like 10 years from now, like
No,
tripods will be so much better. Like you know what I mean, and stuff will be, and guns will be so much better, right? And like it's just,
man.
and you
I
guys are
just hope
driving it.
in
It's
ten
so neat.
years. I just hope in 10 years we're not shooting laser beams and, and shit like that.
Dude, I just hope
Right?
we don't go to all like I bought my kid a Burris. Like Seekins is building my kid at 6'5" Creedmoor right now, my 11-year-old.
Nice.
and I bought him one of those. Burst gave me one of their scopes where you can like the velocimeter, where you can like just turn it and it tells you the
Yeah,
ranges in
yeah,
there. It
yeah.
doesn't
That new
range
one.
find for him. I didn't get the one with the rangefinder in it. I got him to where you can just like, I'll be like I can tell him 300 yards, he can turn to 300 yards, right?
Right.
And he just turn it. It has ballistics in it,
Yeah.
and like I
Has your
know
heads
those
up
are.
display in there.
Yep,
And
yep, and I know those are legal in NRL, right? They are right now.
yeah,
Um,
we don't have
there's no.
a regulation against any of that as long as you make weight.
Oh, you make weight, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder like where we're going off topic of building this brand, which I want to get back to, but like where does technology cross the line with these some of these sports and what we're doing? Because it's just getting so advanced. Like the ballistics are getting so advanced, and the wind calls. I mean, like you will see scopes that are pulling wind calls for you very soon.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna see scopes that are like are catching the wind, whatever, whether it be from just digitally catching trees moving or whatever. And like AI is gonna be there. Where it's gonna freaking just give you a dot and you pull the trigger and you hit that target.
Well,
It's coming.
there there was that company. I don't know if you remember them. Tracking Point. Do you remember Tracking Point? You ever hear of
Mm,
that system?
is
So
that the
it was a
no?
rifle system that was primarily developed for the military,
Hmm.
where you're looking through a scope, but it looked like you're looking through a video game, and you could hit a button on the side of the rifle and find a target, and then hit that target with that button, and it would follow that object, whatever was moving, that animal, and as you were following it, you could pull the trigger and hit that animal at whatever distance, as long as you could hit it with that crosshair.
Really?
So it was literally a video game, and it went into development. It was the whole 9 yard. It was like a $15,000 to $20,000 rifle. They had ARs, they had bolt guns, they had all kinds of different things for it. I don't know what happened. They're not around anymore from what I understand, or maybe they're just redeveloping. I don't know, but they're not the big news like they were a few years back. But that technology is there. And then if you look at what some of the military guys are using with their lasers and their softwares and all that kind of stuff, technology is
It's
technology
coming,
is
bro.
insane.
It's
It's
coming.
insane.
It's coming. And we don't need to go into this whole rabbit hole of like it ruining shooting sports or hunting because we can to each their own. You know what I mean? Like I'm using open
Yeah.
sight 30 this year. I could use a freaking custom rifle, dude. I mean, I've got guys on rifles all the time. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need it right now. You know what I mean? Like I got enough guns. Like
Dude.
I just you choose what
Yeah.
you want to shoot, right? And if you want to go out there
Yeah.
and you want to shoot animals at 1,000 yards, like by all means, go do it. I mean, I took a poke at a freaking sheep at 84 yards yesterday, and I never thought I'd be doing that. But I mean, I just shoot so much now, and I'm like, oh, freaking done. Dude, freaking quartering two, put it right there by the shoulder, and done.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the whole
with my
thing, man.
bow.
Is if you're confident in your skill set, that's where your ethical limit lies.
Yep.
If you've never shot your bow at 100 yards, you've never shot your rifle past 300 yards, don't do it starting on an animal. Go get a target and practice on a target. And that's kind of that whole theory with the NRL Hunters. Like our maximum allowable range is 1,000 yards. And the reason it's 1,000 yards is not because we want to encourage people to shoot 1,000 yards. It's we want people to understand that you can't hit a target that's not moving at 1,000 yards. Why the heck would you try that on an animal?
And in our hunter, you're doing it off of a rock with a stick up your butt. So let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. So now we've gotten to the point where you've done this. You're now competing. You are almost becoming equal to this PRS series. I don't know about equal in that space, but you aren't really equal, right? They're still like the top dog in that space, that precision rifle space. But you're doing some pretty cool stuff now. It's like
Yeah,
2018, 2019.
PRS was always larger than, as
Yeah.
far as they had more matches, they had more members,
Mhm.
they were the bigger organization for what we call race gun, for sure. They were based out east, we were based out west. Out east, they had more matches, they have
Dude,
more
Biggie and
people to
Pac. I told
attend.
you, bro. Biggie
It's yeah,
Pac.
literally they had that market. But then, 5 years ago, I had a friend of mine. His name's Scott Satterley, and Scott was big into the PRS. Like he was one of the best in the PRS, right? Um, he came and started helping me out with NRL Hunter, or with NRL at that time. And he put on this one off outlaw match, and it was a loose format of what NRL Hunter is right now. And it sold out. And everybody that went to that match came back saying it was so much fun and this is what they want to do. And it was, it was just an amazing event. And Scott is an amazing match director. He's a great guy. So Scott and I were literally with a couple of other friends sitting down at his house in Washington, and we were going to a regular NRL match, race gun match, and he's like, "We got to do this," but I don't want to. Scott didn't want to create it. He wanted me to take what he had started and turn it into a series, right? So I'm like, "Okay, Scott, I know your match was a success, but I don't understand it fully. So let's break it down." So we literally got butcher paper out on his dining room table, and we started just drawing and making notes and writing all this down. And we came to a conclusion that in order to make it a series, we had to change it just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit, right? And that year, I made the announcement that the NRL Hunter was starting and the NRL Race Gun was going away. And for me, it
Dude,
was
ballsy, bro.
Well,
Ballsy.
it was a simple decision, honestly. If you look at it at that time, there was an estimated 6,000 people that were shooting race gun matches. So that's PRS, NRL, the race gun, the 25-pound six dasher. There's 6,000 people in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
6,000 people is not a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at the numbers back then, and there was 11 or 13 million hunters in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I've got 0.1% of hunters, I'm still better off than if I got 100% of the race gun.
Yep.
So why not put my energy there? Why not do something different than what the PRS is doing so that I don't have to deal with any of the animosity or nonsense that had developed for the previous 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the NRL Hunter format just made more sense to me. We all
Yep.
got into, so Rich Edmonds, who was the godfather, he created the PRS. He created the PRS originally with a bunch of his buddies that were all hunters so that they could become better hunters. They went out there and they were started shooting shit and they turned it into a match. Just a bunch of friends, saying, "I bet you I could do this. I bet you I could do that. Let's try this. Let's try that." And it turned into a series. And Rich did a phenomenal job. Well, it got away from that somehow. It got away from hunting. It got away from the practicality. It became a, a super heavy 25, 30-pound rifle with the smallest caliber, moving the fastest it could move, and who could shoot the fastest, smallest targets at whatever distance. And that's great because that's how you find out who the best shooters in the world are.
Yep.
Now, to the average guy, who the best shooter in the world is doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, "Hey, these are the best hunters for whatever, for this region, for the world, for whatever," and they can teach you how to hunt, well, that's useful to me. That excites me because now if I need to go out and harvest an animal for my family to eat, if I need to go out and manage livestock, if I need to go out and do, or not livestock, but manage animals or do any of that type of stuff, I'm learning a skill set that makes me a better person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not GI Joe. I'm not a military dude. Military dudes for the most part don't engage people at those distances, and they're not shooting half MOA targets. Their targets are much bigger. So now we develop a sport based upon a practical application in real world
A
scenarios.
blue collar shooting sport is what I would call a blue collar shooting sport.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
for
blue collar.
everybody.
It's the dudes that you would see in your deer camp are out there doing this together.
And you know what? I have hunted every year with somebody from the NRL Hunter.
Yep.
Every year. You know, you're talking about your 30-30s. I go to a lever gun hunt every year in Missouri, and all we shoot
Nice.
is open sight lever guns.
It's awesome.
It's a ton of fun. I'm horrible at it, but it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I need to practice my open sight,
So
shooting.
I'm going to spend some time before I go to Alaska because that's everything with filming this stuff, dude. Is it's like you don't want to be that guy. So I'm gonna spend some time shooting and like
Yeah,
really
I,
dial in.
It's I mean, open sight shooting and scope shooting are completely different worlds. And my confidence, like scope shooting, I'm very confident in what I'm capable to do. In open sights, I'm timid still, you
Yeah,
know?
dude, it's hard. It's hard because like you have to like the scope. It's just like you put the center of the X on the animal, pull the trigger. Like with the open sight, like that thing's you need to know like what height to put it inside of the ghost ring, right? Or the
Right.
back Y, the back sight. Like it's just yeah. But it's a skill set, dude. Like that would be, dude.
It
Like I was
is.
gonna tell you, that'd be a dope match, bro. Let's do like some open side 30-30 matches, dude. 100 yards and in. Find, acquire, and fire, dude. Open side 30-30. Oh, dude. Like that would be a
We've talked
fun
about it.
match. That would be a
We've
fun match, dude. Or even a, I mean, you probably
we've
could do a
talked about doing
station.
muzzle loaders.
Muzzle,
We've
well,
talked
dude,
about
you're gonna get freaking Luke over at Arrowhead just freaking crushing everybody with his freaking 1,000 yard muzzle. That guy's built some sick stuff. Muzzle would be
uh,
fun, dude. You have
um,
maybe you have to get 3 shots off in the time frame or 2 shots off. You know,
yeah, I mean, so and one of the big reasons we haven't done muzzleloader is I've never shot muzzleloader, so I don't understand the capabilities of it. And I have a ton of friends that have done it, and they're like, it's pretty simple, but
dude,
I just have
we
never done it yet.
we need to get you with Luke and Arrowhead rifles and do a match with them because they make the best muzzleloaders. And dude, we're talking like Luke would go and sell because like, dude, like no offense to NRL Hunter or PRS, but dude, like we are the biggest gear dorks in the world. And if there's a series, like dude, like for a fact you guys are all buying Arrowhead rifles because they want to win, you know. So it'd be fun. That'd be a really cool thing because like we all like I shoot muzzleloaders pretty much every year now. I find a hunt tag to go on because it's a way to draw a tag and like, dude, that's loaded. Like, dude, I shot a pig in New Mexico this year. I'm like trying to load and I'm like dropping crap on the ground and I'm like, I'm on video and I'm like, I think the thing came off my rod. And I'm just like, I think I put
Yeah.
it in. I can't remember what I did. I can't remember. I did something wrong. But like, yeah, dude, like that'd be really neat. Muzzlers would be cool. But even like the lever action thing would be sick, dude. Like, have a station with like a fake horse you guys sit on, or you know what I mean, or even just like
Yep.
even just like even like a fake horse, like just like a pole with
We've
a
done it.
log with a saddle on it. You know what I mean? You've done that, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
We,
You know what I
we
mean?
we've
So,
done we've done some cool stuff like last year, I think it was last year, the year before, we had a stage at our Arizona match where you had to put all of your gear that you were going to use on the stage inside of a bucket, and it had to
mhm,
weigh under a certain amount, just like you would pack your gear on a float plane.
mhm,
So it was like, okay, well, what are you going to take up to the stage because you can't carry all the stuff that you have in your pack,
mhm,
right? We've had it where you've had to crawl under a bar to replicate barbed wire. We're not putting real barbed wire out there. We don't need people getting their gear cut up or their backs cut up or whatever. So we do different things in the stage design with the match directors who are super creative to try to emulate as much of a real world scenario as possible and not just create um, a gimmicky game, if that makes sense,
oh, dude,
right?
it's so like, so we're gonna get back into NRL hunters. Now we've got like, because I shoot both. I shoot PRS and I've shot in NRL. I've been to 2 matches from NRL. Um, you can do a whole PRS match in 100 yards. NRL Hunter is like a, a long, you're hiking, you're doing these things, and it's all these weird positions, and they're using the terrain there rather than building obstacles. There are some things they build, but like, I mean, one cool example would be like Surge has a minivan that he bought for like $500 at the last match,
I
and
hate
like
that thing.
everyone's doing certain things. Like I literally climbed up and got on the roof and laid prone, and it was like I ended up getting 2 hits on this moving target at like whatever it is,
Yeah.
like 600 yards, 504 yards. It was hard, but like it,
It was very
you
hard.
it was freaking hard, dude.
Yeah. A lot of
But
people
you,
zeroed that stage.
oh, dude, yeah, I don't, dude. That match was like 40 mile per hour winds. I did so terrible that match, dude. Like it was so bad. But whatever, it was still fun. But like, it's not like you go out there and you guys aren't like, oh, it's raining. All right, see you later, guys. Nope, you're like, it's raining. Well, the deer are still moving. Your tag is only good for 5 days. You got to hunt it. You know what I mean? Hey,
Yeah.
it's literally we were in 40, 50 mile per hour gusts. The porta potties blew over. You guys, listen. The porta potties blew over this event in camp, and that's how windy it was. And we're out there shooting bullets out to 900 yards, at targets, right? And
Yeah.
unknown ranges, finding them and doing that stuff. And it was really cool. I mean, there's your eyes. I had sand in my eyes for days after that match. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
And
so now, go ahead.
I was gonna say, obviously you're not gonna shoot at an animal in the real world in 40, 50
Mhm.
mile per hour winds. But if you can do it in those conditions, you know that in a 10 mile per hour wind, you know how to handle yourself.
Oh, dude, it
Right.
makes
So
my
you
300-yard shots so much easier because I'm typically like a try to under a quarter mile, 420 yards. Like it makes those shots chip shots.
And that's the point. Is just to build your confidence so that whatever position you're in and whatever distance that that you're confident in, that you can execute properly. I mean, that's it. I don't care. Like I have a threshold of between 500 and 600 yards is kind of my threshold. But when
Mhm.
I'm practicing for my hunting season, I shoot at 1,000 yards
Yep.
because if I can hit that 1,000 yard target 10 out of 10 times, then that 500 or 600 yard shot is going to theoretically be
Yep.
easier for me. Of course, conditions dictate whether the shot's going to be taken or not, but you practice with the extremes so that the norm becomes easy.
All right, dude. So now you are sitting in Washington. You have butcher paper on the table. You are drawing out what is now going to be the NRL Hunter series. You've made the announcement. We are no longer NRL Precision Shooting. We are NRL Hunter, and outside looking in, this thing became wildfire. Everyone knows what NRL, even if they haven't shot it, they know what NRL Hunter is now. It's of some they know somebody who's shooting it. At least in my industry, in my space, in the hunting
Yeah.
industry, like I know someone at every company who's doing it. People want to do it. Like I was hanging out with Brady Miller a couple weeks ago. I got you on message with him, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, I want to do it. I want to try it. You know what I mean? So what happens? You open the series up. What happens?
We opened the series up. I forget how many matches we had the first year, but it was under 10. Um,
Okay.
it was just a small, a small series, but we have a shorter time frame. So our series runs from January, and our Grand Slam, our championship, is the second week of August. And we designed it that way because we want people to be able to go out and hunt, use the skill sets that you learned, at the first half of the year to go out and apply them. So we had less than 10 matches the first year. I think it was 8. Um, they're doing well. They're picking up. I don't know that we had any sold out matches, but all of the matches had decent attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, it just started compounding. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the next year we added. I think every year we've added between 6 or 10 matches every year,
Mm-hmm.
um, including up to this year. This year we had scheduled 32 matches. We had one drop out just because the match director got a new job, blah blah blah, whatever. So we have 31 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 31 matches in essentially a 6 week time period because we have one match in January, but then we have SHOT Show and trade show season. So our matches really get busy starting towards the end of February,
Mm-hmm.
all the way through until July. uh, Beginning of July, for the whole month of July, we have no matches because we use that month to get out invitations for the Grand Slam, and then we have one match in August. So from February to July, we have 31 matches. And this year, all of the matches either sold out or they didn't sell out by like 1 or 2 people. So every single one of our matches is completely full.
Which is 200 competitors, right?
It's going to be anywhere between 120 to 180 competitors,
Depending on the stages.
and then staff and so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's it, it's it's crazy. I mean, literally, people that were shooting the first matches with us, back in the day, are calling me up saying, "Hey, can you get me into this match? It sold out before I had a chance to get in." And we tell people our complete schedule in October the year prior. We tell people when we're going to open up the matches a year prior. I mean, not a year prior, but the year prior. So, like in December, we tell everybody, "Hey, these are when these matches are opening up," and they're still, selling out before people can get in. So we're truly blessed right now.
That's awesome, dude. God's good, bro. Okay, so now we've established this brand. You've built this awesome. The thing is, like, it is nowhere near where it's going, which is really neat to see. Like, this thing's going bigger for sure. There's other. We've talked to before on this podcast about doing like 1 day things, doing trainings, doing like these skill sets. But dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. The average dude, it's intimidating, and we're scared
It
to go out
is.
and do it. Like, we don't have $10,000 for a rifle. Like, what do we do?
It is, and it's not just the average guy. There's a lot of quote unquote hunting celebrities that don't want to shoot in our matches because they don't want their skill set to be seen in public, so to
Oh,
speak.
dude, trust me, dude. Like, I'm myself, I'm out here, like, and I've got some of these guys in the NRL circuit that aren't really big fans of me right now, like, just like talking about crap on me online and stuff. And I'm like, bro, I'm just like, for me though, I don't care, right? Like, I tell people all the time, like, I am not a great shot. I am not a great hunter, but I love it just as much as everyone else. I have just as much fun in a hunter match as the guy who's shooting a 150, right? Like,
Yeah,
I just love it. And like, it got to get and do it, get that skill set. And like, it's only going to make you better. Right. So like,
absolutely.
screw that, man. Like, I post my misses, I do that stuff because like, I want people to know, like, I'm just out there having a good time. Like, I build really freaking good tripods and really good bipods. That's it, dude. Other than that, like, I'm just out there living the dream and having fun, man.
And
So,
that's all it's about, you know. Like if you look at my scores, I'm not one of the best shooters in the world by any means. I am at best a mid pack shooter, but I know what I'm capable of and how to implement what I know in a hunting scenario. So I'm able to put down, you know, I'm able to take what I learn from these competitions and put meat in my freezer and feed my family. So to me, that's a win.
yeah, the hard thing is, and I know like so, like my local club does an NRL match every once in a while instead of a PRS match. You know, down here in San Diego, Surge and those guys,
Yep.
they do some like local small stuff. It's hard when there's only one match though. But so let's talk rifles, right? Let's get into gear, right? Like in my opinion, like tell me I'm wrong. All you need is your hunting rifle with some sort of a ballistics dial on it, right? As long as you can, you don't
Yep.
want like your old, you want to be able to turn your dial up so you can dial ranges, a rangefinder, a dope chart, some binoculars, and you can go out and do one of these matches,
Yeah.
and we'll figure it out. And honestly,
Absolutely.
we'll probably loan you gear when you're out there with us.
Yeah. If you need gear, I mean, if I'm driving to a match, I always have gear on me.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm flying to a match, the match director usually has extra gear. The ROs shoot the day before the regular competitors, so there's always gear there. And our community is so forthcoming
Yep.
with if you need something, it could be. I literally have seen guys take triggers out of their rifle to give to somebody because their trigger went down
Oh, I
during a
shot with that
match.
guy. I shot that guy the last match it happened.
Yeah,
Someone Surge
you,
took the trigger out of his rifle and gave it to gosh, who was that?
I
The guy who
forget the
goes
guy's
guy
name.
goes to church. He goes to church with me, and
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Surge gave him his. He's like, yeah, he had this trigger, and like the thing freaking when it goes, it goes. I guess. But
Yeah,
dude, yeah, and I'm not by no means. I don't think I'm knocking PRS. I shoot PRS as well. It's just the same kind of community. Like it's like, dude, like you show up and they're like, oh, borrow my thing. Like I'm if you're shooting with me, I'm like, you want to borrow my rear bag? You want to borrow my tripod? You want to do this stuff? Like I like and everyone's out there trying to like the cool thing about PRS and NRL is like you're only competing with yourself. So no one's like trying to hinder you to like not shoot good. I
no,
don't know. Maybe there are guys at the top level that might do that to each other. I don't know. But like I don't think anyone's out there like, hey man, I don't want to help you because I don't want you to shoot well in this round. Like we want to hear impact when you shoot. You know what I mean? We want you having fun and doing it. And like I'm gonna have my kids start shooting with me. You know what I mean? Like I'll go up there with
perfect.
them.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed too is like my father-in-law, he's 76 years old. Um, he got dumped on too, which pissed me off. But anyways, uh, he's 76 years old out there shooting these matches with us, and I just be like, okay, just so you know, he's not going to do that position. He's just going to sit here on the tripod and shoot,
Yeah,
right?
which is
And
yeah,
and it's
perfect.
like he's in the skills thing anyways, and who cares? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he's shooting, he's getting his stuff in there. And I'll tell you what, dude, that guy is going to shoot a public land bull this year in November in Arizona.
Oh yeah.
He's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
do it public land at 76 years old, dude. Everyone out there can suck an egg, dude. This guy's gonna out there and get it done.
Dude, that's awesome.
And NRL Hunter's gonna help him with that, and PRS is gonna help him with that because we're doing these things. We're learning positions. We're learning like, hey, your good position is seated with the tripod with a rear tripod support, and he's very stable. He can't get praise. A hard time getting
Perfect.
prone. Very hard time getting
Yeah.
prone. But I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, if we can get him seated with a tripod, I can stretch him out with a sturdy nozzler to some pretty, I'm not going to go past like 600 yards, but I can get him in that range very easily, very stable to make that shot. Because we've proven it. We do a lot. We're doing training courses together. We'll be shooting on weekends. And like NRL really opened my eyes to that in these different positions, and it's accessible to
And that's the
everybody.
point. You know, figure out what works best for you. Like, you know, traditionally we're talking about precision rifle. Prone is going to be the most stable position that you can get in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no arguing that. But that's true if your body allows you to get in prone,
Yeah,
right? I have a jacked up back. I got a broken collarbone from when I was a kid, so my shoulders sit different. I am traditionally more accurate off of a tripod in a kneeling position than I am prone.
really.
Absolutely. And I'm more confident off of a tripod than I am shooting prone. And my rifle is set up for me to shoot off of a tripod, not prone.
Oh gosh, wait
And
till you get that Tricer X, bro. You're gonna just be kill everything.
right?
Nothing's safe, bro.
And it took me like 3 years to figure it out.
Really?
right? And so
That's
my
impressive.
friend uh, Phil Vallejo, who was a scout sniper, he does training, he does all this. He's just a phenomenal person, big time hunter, the whole 9 yards. We were sitting at my house, and he got me into a position in traditional prone, and he's like, dude, your body is all jacked up. It's not in the right positions. And I'm like, I can't go into the position you're asking me to get into. And then we went to the range, and we were working on tripod stuff, and he's like showing me different ways to get in the tripod position. And I went into a kneeling position, and I was way more accurate than I was in the prone positions. And he's like, that's what you just got to do, bro. that's where
That's awesome.
that's where your body is telling you that you are the most stable.
And that's what comes from doing these NRL matches and learning that stuff is getting out there and doing
Yeah.
it, man. And my point is that you don't have to go out, you guys. Like a lot of people, you get excited, right? And it's like you draw a bull tag and you go buy $12,000 in gear. You don't need to do that. The rifle you have
No.
in your case does it. You can go out and shoot these matches with a Ruger American with a Vortex Viper on it and go out and shoot, have a great time. Hit a lot of targets. Now, is it the most accurate
Dude,
gun? No, but you could do it all day long. Like you could develop a load for it and have it be pretty accurate. But I'm shooting factory ammo right now out of my 6.5 Creep Mark. I don't have time to reload.
right.
You
And
know,
dude, there's like, to your point, there was a gentleman in Wisconsin, match I just came back from, shooting a Woodstock. I think he was shooting a 30-06, I think
mm-hmm.
it was. But it was a Woodstock, no bipod, leather sling, and he had, I don't even know what scope it was, but it was an old scope, like tiny old scope. And he was engaging targets at 900 yards with it.
It's red.
And I was like, you don't need, and our sponsors, they all make great rifles, right? But you don't need to go out and buy something for this until you've done it and you understand what you need, right? If you use this as an excuse to go buy something and you have that cash flow, great. Go for it, but it's not necessary. You can do it with pretty much whatever you've got
The
in your
modern
closet, I mean, in your
hunter,
safe.
the modern hunter has everything he needs to do this. I can tell you right
Yeah.
now. If you are going to go on a backpack, you're going on a backpack hunt. You've got everything you need. If you're one of
Yep.
those guys, like you have a rangefinder, you have a bino harness, you probably have a tripod already, right? You're probably glassing. Like my buddy I shot with, he used my Tricer AD and an LP. He did fine.
Yeah.
He was fine. He could shoot off it. Like it doesn't matter. And these scores don't matter, man. And it's going to teach you, like, sometimes you're like, oh, maybe I can't shoot standing up off an AD with the center column fully extended at 700 yards. Maybe that's a little bit unstable. Like, you'll learn that before you get out there, right? And it's such a cool way to do it. And the community, Travis, like, I really love the NRL community and the guys that are out there. And it's just like, it's just such a neat thing you're doing for the sport and for hunting, right? It really is like opening my eyes to different positions, which is nice. Like I'm like bringing a ladder to the range now when I go to the range, shooting off a ladder. You know what I mean? I'm doing things when I go shoot off a bench at Poway Weapons and Gear right by between us. I
Right.
shoot off of the bench in a leaning position, not off of a chair. Like I'm sitting like or I'm
Right.
taking the chair, I'm sitting on the chair and I'm kneeling on the chair, shooting off the back of the chair, like with a bag. Like it's just it really opens your eyes to like real world shooting, and you guys have just crushed it in that space.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And we're still growing, we're still learning and changing things. And it's, if we can make people better ethical hunters, more successful in the field, and our most importantly, our kids can learn that skill set,
Yep.
and we can continue to pass that on, then the late nights and early mornings and hundreds of thousands of miles I've put on my body in the past couple of years, well worth it.
That's awesome, dude. Hey, so we always like to kind of wrap up with a hunting story. So since you are the NRL hunter guy, doesn't have to be the biggest story. It could be a freaking gopher. I don't care what it is. Give us a hunting story, dude. Campfire story.
Campfire story. Okay. Um, I'll give you one that this is the first one that just now popped in the head in my
Perfect.
mind. Okay. Um, we have a division of NRL Hunter in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and we went over there. The first year they put a prize on the table, and for a safari hunt, and our buddy Rusty Omer won that hunt and took his boy out there with our friend Paul Dallin, and he took his boys out there. I went out there to film. Um, and it was one of the most magic. And I'm telling the story too. It's perfect because you're going to South Africa here pretty soon.
Like in a month, yeah, with my
Yeah,
son, and I'm filming.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect, right?
yeah.
South Africa, a lot of people are afraid of South Africa because you hear horror stories of it. Limpopo is not that safe. Um, but I'm sorry, Limpopo is great, but Johannesburg's not that safe, so on and so forth. But if you're smart and you're careful, you're great. So we went out there, and uh, the owner basically had convinced me that he wanted me to hunt, right? And my whole theory is I don't like to hunt things unless I'm going to eat them.
Hmm.
And he'd explained to me that whatever we shot that day, his
Hmm.
his mom was going to cook for us the following couple of nights. And I was like, okay, well, if we're going to eat it, then yeah, I'll let Rusty and Paul and them who are spending a ton of money on getting their kids out there, let them do their thing. And when there's an opportunity for me to do something, I will.
Hmm.
So everybody is having a great time. Everybody talks about their longest shot with a rifle. Okay. So in this particular instance, we're going out and we're hunting for impala. And this is at Red Sand Safaris. And I'm with one of their guys. I think his name was Neil. Niels. I don't say it correctly.
Are you using his rifle?
I'm using, whose rifle was I using? I was using somebody's rifle. It wasn't mine. I didn't bring a
Yeah, you bring
rifle.
a gun. Yeah, you bring a gun. So
Yeah,
you're
I
someone else's
brought
gun.
camera gear,
I'm doing the same thing. I'm using somebody else's gun when I go over there because it just get everyone's guns
Yeah.
over his pain in the butt.
So we're in this thicket and we hear what we believe is impala on the opposite side. We're on this side on the road, and we're literally pacing them down this pathway. And we keep getting glimpses of animals moving through the brush. And there's three of us or four of us, and we're just walking. He knows this area like the back of his hand. He's like, we're coming up to a road that's going to cross. So when we get out there, and I was on my tripod and a rear bag that he made. They made a game changer rear bag out of a warthog skin.
That's
And I was
sick.
like, and I got to keep it, which was freaking
Dude, I
awesome.
just freaking threw away a sheep hide yesterday. If I kill another sheep, I'm gonna keep the hide and make a rear bag. That's a
Dude,
freaking
yeah.
rad idea, dude. That's
Yeah.
rad.
It's so, I mean, it's like one of my favorite things, right?
Okay.
So he's like, okay, when we get out, you're just going to come to the edge of where the bush is and that road, and you're going to set up and you're going to stay on that rifle until I tell you. So we had probably followed these antelope, or these impala rather, for a good mile. Right? We get to the road. I get set up, and I'm behind my rifle. And I'm looking through my scope, and I'm just waiting. He's like, they're coming, right? Because he can hear them. He knows what's going on. He's like, they're coming. They're going to break this line here pretty quick. When I tell you to shoot, you shoot. And I'm like, okay, I just have complete faith in this guy, right? I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I'm set up. I'm looking through my scope. All of a sudden, he yells, shoot. All I saw was brown in my optic. That's all I saw, right? I shot this impala perfect, right through, straight through the heart. The pinwheel this impala at 25 yards.
That's awesome, dude.
I could not see anything else just because he was so close to me, and I was like on a 3 power or whatever
Yeah.
optic, right? And my optic was probably set somewhere closer to like 8 or 10 because I was not expecting him to come out that close to us.
Hmm.
And so literally he's like, shoot. And I shot, and I had no idea, like, probably not the smartest thing to do, but you trust your guide when you're there. And I saw brown. So he's like, shoot. So I shot and dropped that impala just basically at my feet.
That's rad,
And,
dude.
everybody's like, what's the farthest you've ever shot? Well, I know what it is, but my best story is I shot something at 25 yards.
Dude, so I similarly shot a mule deer at 20 yards this year. I was putting a stock on. I thought he was 100 yards away. I looked down. He's right below me. I shot him. It's on film. I can see the film, and all I can see, I shot him off hand because I was like ready to shoot off my knees, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's right below me, and all I could see was deer. That's it. Like,
Right?
and I was like at three. I was like pick my head. I was like, oh crap, and I shot him. Like all I could see is this like shoulder and like the kind of, and I just pulled the trigger and shot him. And that's way cooler to me, dude, than like laying down on a flat rock and over a savanna and waiting for these things to step out at 800 yards and then getting wind calls and doing it. Like that's a cool story. And that's rad, dude. And I'm excited to go to Africa. I'm similar to you. I've never wanted to go just to kill stuff. We're going down there to film a series with like Mountain Ops and Peaks and a bunch of other brands, just to bring awareness to what hunting does for the community. We're going to do
Yeah,
some outreach work as well in the community, and all the meat's going to get eaten. So I'm going down
that's
there and
awesome.
doing it. Like, I'm not the biggest guy that likes to post these things like, oh, we're doing this to give food to the community. Like, we're doing because we love to hunt stuff, right?
Right.
Um,
But if you
but
can do good while you're down there, why
Oh
not?
yeah, the mission stuff is great. Yeah, I'm just saying like a lot of guys go on there shoot a giraffe and they're posting these videos about how much feed people's going to feed. It's like you just wanted to kill a giraffe, whatever.
Right.
I'm not knocking
Right.
you. Kill a giraffe. I'm all about it. You know what I mean? But don't pretend you
Yeah.
did it just so you can go feed some freaking starving Africans. You know what I mean? We're doing it 'cause we like to
Right.
go hunting. But I'm excited to go over there and do it. Excited. You've got me excited about it. I know I tried to get you to go, but you couldn't make it on this
Couldn't
trip.
make it, man. Which really sucks because I want to go back because it was, I mean, such an awesome adventure. But it's in the middle of our match
Oh, you're
season, so it's
serious,
just,
dude. I know.
yeah, it's just tough.
I know, bro. But dude, Travis, man, I'm so happy to have you on the podcast. So happy to become friends with you and get to know you. I think we're gonna do some fishing together
Likewise,
here in a
man.
couple of months. We're gonna go to Mexico together and just go
I'm
slay
looking
some
forward to that.
tuna and some ahi stuff. But bro, man, if you are not following NRL Hunter on Instagram, go follow him. I think they have YouTube as well, NRL Hunter as well.
Uh, the YouTube is National Rifle League, so we just
National
kept it the
League.
same from when we first started, but it's National Rifle League.
Okay, and then also NRLHunter.com,
.org, .com,
NRLHunter.org.
but it's .org, yeah.
NRLHunter.org. Go find him, go follow him, and go shoot a match. If you guys are interested in doing a match, message Travis on Instagram. I'm sure they'll get back to you. They're, I think him and his wife are running this thing still, dude, just like Tricer. They'll get
Yeah,
back to you. Go find a local. Anyway, the best thing I recommend is just message them, and they'll probably tell you a local club you can go start shooting at beforehand, and go
yeah.
doing some stuff with them and doing like like my local club is doing NRL Hunter trainings all the time. Just go out there and do it and get to know it and learn the sport, and you'll be better hunter because of it. And Travis, what you're doing is foundational for our sport, and I'm proud of what you're doing, and I'm stoked to be your friend, man.
Absolutely, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that we hooked up this year and that we're becoming better friends. And I really appreciate all the ingenuity and everything that you bring to the sport and the opportunities that you're providing for everybody to have awesome gear at an affordable price. Um, and it's just, I mean, it's just fantastic. I mean, it just makes sense, right?
Thanks,
So
bro. I
I'm
appreciate it.
stoked, man.
We should put it on the air right now, Travis, before we get off. Who's catching the bigger yellowtail in Baja in July? Me or you?
Oh shit. uh,
I'm going with
uh,
Travis. I'm going with Travis. I'll put it on right
oh
now.
man,
If I win, we gotta do something. I don't know. We'll figure some kind of bet out for that.
we'll have to figure out a wager for sure. But last time I made that bet, my wife kicked my ass, and she landed a bigger yellowtail than I did. So
Did you, and your
that
wife's
that
tiny, bro.
yeah, she's like 5'10". I mean 5'10". She's like 5'1" and 110 pounds.
Oh, dude, she's tiny. I
So
met your wife. I'm like, you are small. So she probably
yeah,
get pulled over the side of the boat, dude. Just freaking raking in these big old slob tunas, dude. It's
she did
awesome.
like 3 or 4 laps around the boat with that fish on her line. It was fun to watch, but every time I make a bet about fishing, I always lose.
Uh,
So that's why I've got a little PTSD about it. But let's do it.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, we're gonna have a good time. We're bringing on the motorcycles guys, the gritty guys. Like we're gonna have a hoot of a time in Mexico for like 4 or 5 days in July. So, Travis, man, I appreciate you. Let's do another pod sometime soon, bro. Let's do
Absolutely.
it again, buddy.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. You guys enjoy Hawaii and send my hellos and loves to the family. And I can't wait to hear stories when you get back.
I will.